Hey everybody, welcome back to Exploring Temecula. On today's video, we are going to talk about Glen Oak Hills. I've had a few requests to talk about this community. I just wanted to go over things, like housing costs, pros and cons, and just give you my overall opinion on Glen Oak Hills. For those of you thinking of moving to Temecula and you're looking for more of a rural type area, this is definitely a community that you should check out. In the description, I'm going to have the blog post and the home search for Glen Oak Hills. So if you'd like to figure out sort of what homes are selling for, that would be a great asset for you to take a look at. If you are looking for anything in regards to Temecula, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We do a lot of videos regarding not only Temecula, but the surrounding area. And finally, if you are looking for a home value, we are licensed not only as a brokerage here in Temecula, but also a real estate appraisal company. Thank you very much, and let's get into the video. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro, Glen Oak Hills is around a 35-minute drive from the 15 freeway going east. It's around 1,300 acres, has around 300 custom homes, and the land or the size of your property is going to range anywhere from 2.5 acres up to 10 acres. For the HOA, they have a clubhouse, horseback riding area, and tennis courts. When I was going through the MLS, I was trying to get a specific number and way of what it costs per month for the HOA, and they were all over the map. So some of the agents might have put it quarterly, some of them might have put it monthly, and I even saw HOAs that were zero. Now, I'm sure there are areas out in that region that don't have an HOA, but in this specific community of Glen Oak Hills, there is going to be an HOA. I strongly suggest that if this is an area that you like, to call up the management company and just figure out what you're allowed to do there. I hate giving information on HOAs because I don't know every in and out of every single HOA, but you want to know things like, are you allowed to park your RV there? Are you allowed horses? Is there a certain amount of dwellings you're allowed on each property or per acre? These are all things that people ask me all the time, and I don't always know the answers to these questions just because there's so many of them out there, and I don't keep up to date every single month or every single year on anything that the HOA might change. So this is really just me telling you, it doesn't matter what HOA you're buying in, make sure you know what it entails, how much it's going to cost, and if it fits your needs. Okay guys, so when I was looking on the MLS and the information that I saw, you can find homes anywhere from 1,300 square feet all the way up to 6,500 square feet. So there's really something for everybody if this is the type of lifestyle or the type of area that you want to live in. The average lot size in Glen Oak Hills is 5 acres. And in my opinion, this is a great area to find the diamond in the rough that might need a little work, but you have the opportunity to really bring this out to an estate-like home. Many times in these rural areas, you'll find homes that haven't been remodeled in 20, 30 years, and you can definitely get them at a discounted price, than something that you would find in the city of Temecula, where oftentimes, for some reason or another, the homeowners just tend to upgrade their homes maybe a little more regular than an area like Glen Oak Hills. I'm not saying that Glen Oak Hills doesn't have beautifully remodeled homes. In just my experience, a lot of times throughout Riverside County, these rural areas have the footprint of having a beautiful home. They just haven't had anything done to them in many, many years. Okay, some of the things that just driving through the community that I thought would be important for me to get across to you that I personally liked: very quiet, serene, beautiful, rolling hills, the opportunities for agriculture, the opportunities, to landscape your property the way that you want it. It's just a matter of whether or not being 30 minutes from town, 25 minutes from town is something that you are interested in. This might be an area for somebody that wants to work from home or is able to work from home. or a retiree that enjoys being outdoors and doing this type of work. If that is not you, I would be very careful in going out there thinking that you're going to love this area, and buying the home and realizing, oh, I've got to drive the kids to school, or I've got to go to work and it's too far of a drive. So just be very careful. As beautiful as some of these areas are in Southern California that are very rural, they're not conducive to somebody that might be in their working years or wants to be close to, or has kids and needs to be close to schools. So it's important that you just take those things into consideration. So I get a lot of calls on Duluth and Meadowview, and I just wanted to compare these three areas just really quickly so you guys get an idea of what might work for you if you're not from the area. First off, Duluth is west of the 15 freeway, and it's a pretty large area, and one of the downsides that's even worse than Glen Oak Hills is the driving to get into town. There's literally nothing out in Duluth that you can get to quickly. At least in Glen Oak Hills, it's a little shorter drive to get east, the east side of Temecula. You could probably get there in 15 to 20 minutes. And if you like wine, the wineries are all around there, and you would have 20, 30 wineries within a 15-minute drive. Duluth, I would say, especially closer to the 15 freeway, the hills are bigger. The views would be more vast. The estate homes are a little nicer. But again, Duluth is, definitely going to be even less convenient than Glen Oak Hills. Meadowview, I get a lot of calls on that. That's another area right in the middle of Temecula that does have larger lots, half acre, 2 acre lots that you can have horses on. And one of the things that I really like about Meadowview for anybody that wants that type of feel, the rural feel, is you're still close to everything that you need on a daily basis. For the calls that I get from people wanting the rural life in Temecula, I always start off with Meadowview. And, then if they're 1000% okay with being way out, sort of in the middle of nowhere, point them to these two areas. But when I compare, again, the comparison between Duluth and Glen Oak Hills is, not as vast and not as big in way of the hills and the valleys. Probably doesn't have the views, but it is more convenient. Okay, and finally, some of maybe the cons of Glen Oak Hills, and I touched on them a little bit, but just number one, make sure that you understand what it's like to own a rural property and the work that can be involved in that. If you're coming from the city and you've never lived in a rural area, or you've never lived on a property that's bigger than 10,000 square feet, this could be a huge operation that you just don't even have an understanding of, in way of keeping your property up and making it, a nice place to live. You're going to be outdoors a lot, which again, some people might like that. There's going to be constant maintenance with a property of that size. Now, if you do have agriculture, in way of fruits, orange trees, avocado trees, all that, I have heard in many instances, especially up in Duluth, that they just contract out, basically the whole process. You don't make a lot of money, but it at least pays for the upkeep and maybe the water that you're using. So that is always an option. If you come across a property that you like, that has a lot of this agriculture on it, there is the opportunity just to sub that work out for you so you don't really have to deal with it. And the last thing, just to be aware of, that wine country is getting very popular in Temecula, especially on the weekends. The traffic sometimes is just unbelievable. We tend to go to the wineries during the week when it's a little less busy, but just be aware that you're right smack dab in that area. And, even if you're the type of person that, hey, I'm not going to go out very much, or I don't need to go out very much, the weekends getting out of that area into the city of Temecula, there is going to be a lot of traffic. you're sort of out far enough that you're not going to deal with the winery traffic, but you are if you're driving into Temecula. So those are just simple things that a lot of times people don't take into consideration. I mean, I might be talking on these videos about obvious things, but you wouldn't believe how many people just fall in love with this property and 6 months down the line realize, holy crap, it's 35 minutes to get into town and I've got to drive my kids to school, or I've got to do this and I don't really like that. Or holy crap, I've got 5 acres. It's so quiet out here. I actually don't even like it that quiet. So just be very, whenever you're buying a rural property, just make sure you do your research. Make sure that, even rent a place, for 3 or 4 months, in a rural area before you, make the decision and jump in buying $1 million home. So there you have it, guys. A little bit about Glen Oak Hills. I think it's a beautiful area if that's what you're into. If you have any further questions about that area, or you would like to see homes in that area, just give me a call. I might have mentioned it in the beginning, but there is a link in this description that's going to show you homes only in Glen Oak Hills. So hopefully that helps. And until next time, exploring Temecula.